That's the beach. Probably can't tell. I'm in my tour van, but I don't ever really need to tour with others again. At least that's how it feels right now. I'm in a heavy place. I know that I am my own medicine. I've learned that. I've read it. But it doesn't feel... Well, it does feel true right now, but I don't want to use the concept of you are your own medicine to believe that all things are always equally unilaterally good if you just change your perspective. It's like, I don't think that that concept was supposed to teach me that, and yet I feel that I've been interpreting it that way. And then I saw an Instagram video where a 100-year-old man got a honking parade that went on for like 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and this 100-year-old man looked youthful and vibrant, and he kept getting a little too close to maybe who was his, you know, grandson or nephew or son, who knows, someone who's filming. And the 100-year-old man kept starting to walk towards him, and towards the end, it was heart-wrenching. It hurt like a grip on my heart, hearing the young man say, "No, sorry, Pops, I can't, don't get too close." But he just kept saying in these positive ways, like, "See, this parade's for you." And it was like the younger man just kept trying to be positive about it. How does a 100-year-old man feel positive right now? How does a 100-year-old man feel okay with never hugging another person other than what looked to be like maybe a wife or a caretaker inside the house she was hiding? Like, how does someone like that feel okay in this new reality? What philosophies have they used to age for as long as they've aged? You know? I can't imagine you feel like you have more than a few years left in you, and if it takes a few years to get a vaccine, then it's just out of the blue, suddenly that's it. End of story. Life as you know it is different and therefore gone. Like, and if the world recovers from this, or if I want to be more positive sounding, when the world recovers from this, it won't ever be the same though. So that's why I say if. I don't see the value in a delusion that believes that things would go back to how they were. We never go back. We don't ever go backwards. We always go forwards. The only ways that we go backwards is in reflection, is in how we rethink old things with new minds. Like, I have gone back and back and back on my childhood. Maybe this is why I'm feeling wrong being in Michigan. Like, I look to my childhood like a beacon, like something to be figured out. Like, I live east of it. There's my views again that I gained from some book I read when I was in high school. Maybe I need to like yank that belief out of my mind, but it's served me for the most part. This idea that when you travel east, you're going back into your past. And when you travel west, you're going forward into your future. It's like, I can't even get back to Wisconsin in my mind. I can't even get back to that. Like, it's... There's a part of me back in 2016 that was basically like screaming to leave Michigan. And at the time, I only understood it to be my trauma. Had multiple traumas that are very associated with Michigan. So at the time, I thought that that's why I needed to leave Michigan. But I look at these houses and I don't identify. Those birds eating the moss off the tree are very cute. You probably can't see that. Hi guys. I've been reading old journals back when I was very thin, a little anorexic in my thinking. Very restless in my energy, back when I used to really restrain any sort of like external comforts. I didn't drink, I didn't overeat, I didn't do any of those types of comforting things, and because of that I felt even more energy back then than I do now, and I spent a lot of it dreaming. I spent a lot of it dreaming about what I was going to do with my future. Future felt like clay to me, but it felt like a certainty. I felt like I just had to do this 1, 2, 3, 10 more things, and it just, I don't know. Whether it was release albums or write more musicals or be part of a movie, I just felt like I had always fallen into sort of beautiful things. I think when I was living in Chicago is when I noticed that it stopped having what felt like an upward trajectory. These birds are really cute. I feel like if I get out so you can see the birds closer, they'll just all fly away. So I'll just enjoy them while I keep trying to tell you my story. I don't know who you are, who would watch this, but I'm trying to just make these for myself to preserve where I'm at. I released something on my Bandcamp 6 days. Hi. I'll turn the motor off. No reason to waste gas. There's a lot of birds here. The breeze feels nice. I've been inside all week. I don't go out to teach. I don't interact with people other than Brian. And yet I interact virtually with so many people that it's just as draining as when I was a person in the world. I feel lost in a lot of ways. There was a whole trajectory that I was going to go down. Back in 2016, I wanted to move to the Pacific Northwest, and Brian had gotten a new job, and I knew he really wanted to stay with it for at least 3 years, and I remember being confused, thinking like, well, what can I do to just keep myself in place when I really want to move or want to fly? I started Ladyfest at the lakeshore, imitated things that I had liked, basically. I had liked Ladyfest GR, I had liked Lamplight Music Festival. So I just started kind of creating my own versions of things that already had existed in my timeline, and it was nice. Honestly, creating Ladyfest taught me a lot. I don't want to think of it as some sort of waste of time because it was meaningful to people other than me, and even if I meant to just go somewhere else and have another chapter somewhere else. I don't know why Portland called to me back then. It was Seattle at first, and then it became Portland, and I don't really remember why. I think it was because I really liked the Portland Cello Project, and I think it was I had a friend who lived there. I think it was various reasons, but that's so loud. So Lake Michigan is a very big lake. I guess it's close to being like by the ocean, except there's no salt. And I've lived on Lake Michigan my whole life. Racine, Wisconsin, Chicago, Illinois. now Grand Haven, Michigan. Like, I went other places. I lived in London for a semester. I lived in New York City for 2 years. I lived in Appleton, Wisconsin, which is near a smaller lake, up north in Wisconsin, kind of by Green Bay, for 4 years for college. But I mean, what a greedy, greedy thing it is to be a human. And nothing's ever enough. We're never settled. We're never fine. We're never okay with what we have. Some people are. This idea that it's never enough, that there's more to discover, more to explore. It's just wild to me. I don't mean to be a person who always wants more. It's just like very much the opposite of like being a monk. But it's hard for me to acknowledge like this just, it confuses me when I think like I didn't mean to touch down here. Like this was meant to be a stop off where I had great trauma and then left. And I haven't left yet. And if you're a piano student of mine watching this, I am very sorry to tell you this tale because I probably really love you. Like I probably deeply love you. And if I could scoop up everybody that has had a positive impact in my life and bring them with me if I went somewhere else, I would. Or if I could teach everybody virtually while living somewhere else so that I could see different landscape and feel different influences, I would. Because I think that that's what I'm rebelling against. I think that that's what I learned very early on. I learned it by the end of 2015, early 2016, is the influences here are wrong for me. I feel this strange sense of jockeying for position and having nowhere to go at the same time in Michigan. I feel like everybody is competitive, but there is no prize. We're all on the same radio station, winning the same small town awards or not winning them. It has a very nothing feeling for me. I don't know how to get myself to care about any of it. And yet I do care about it and am affected by it and am influenced by it. And am influenced by the people that I see around me who are doing things and don't seem to care about the things I'm doing. And perhaps they feel the same way. They're doing things and suspect that I don't care about the things they're doing and I only care about the things I'm doing. I feel like being here I've become more insular and almost more selfish, and I don't want to blame that on the people by any means, but I think I'm very affected by the people in my environments. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what the solution is. I really like her hat. I'm sure maybe it is no different other places. You know, maybe it's no different in Portland or Seattle or California. Maybe it's just the human condition, and moving around is supposed to teach you that so that you can see that you can go halfway across a country and experience the same thing. I'm sure that's actually true. But conversely, when I settle down into my mind and into my heart and I pray about what I'm supposed to do and where I'm supposed to be and sort of how to follow God, how to follow inner guidance, how to follow floaty external guidance, whatever compass it is that I'm running my life with, whether it's journaling and how I feel, or whether it's weird books by like Wayne Dyer or like, I don't know, Buddhism, Taoism, all kinds of different wisdoms, including talking with my sister, like Bible quotes, all kinds of things. There's just so many things that make me think. And I've seen people in my family uproot and start a whole new life somewhere else. Now everyone else in my family has done it. And I've done it, but only accidentally. Everyone in my family now has done it intentionally. And I did it as a response to something very negative. All my other family members have done it from a place of dreamy wisdom. My brother like picked a town and built his family around a job in a city and built a life there. My sister and her husband did it out of his love for Colorado and the mountains. My parents did it out of the love for, you know, after being grandparents to my sister's kids, then they wanted to move by my brother's kids. And finally, you know, they even uprooted and did it all. I mean, I'm the only one who hasn't, from a place of good growth, said, I am going to move somewhere for me, not for an ex, because that's what I did. I always moved for the people I was dating, or for lack of money, or for lack of direction. And all my moves have like failed in a sense in that regard. I mean, I've gotten more free, but I don't want to be hurtful. Like, anywhere I go, I only say these words because I know that if I could afford to go somewhere and cover the costs for me and Brian, I know that he would come with me because our relationship is strong. I wouldn't say any of these words out loud if there was even the slightest implication that I meant without Brian. So I'm grateful that we have such a strong relationship. People walking by talking about COVID. Cool. I'm gonna have some coffee. It's 17 minutes into this video and I don't know why it hasn't stopped yet. I just found out someone that I know and have played a show with, whom I look up to musically. I just found out her father passed away unexpectedly 2 days ago. I've been trying not to activate empathy in the sense where I imagine things like that happen in my own life. I'm trying to only activate putting myself in their shoes, like imagining I am her, rather than the other way around. It's like I misunderstood how to do empathy when I was younger and instead took all the saddest possible things that can happen to a life and then imagined them on my own life, and that probably effed up my life, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm in shock for everybody. I almost feel like I can't feel sometimes because there's too much to feel. Like my heart does break for her, like heavily, but I realize I'm talking about it in this like cold, stoic way, and I'm like, I think it's because I can't feel. I'm used to waiting until things are at peacetime and there's some sort of stability before I feel it, you know? I think I just partly can't feel right now. There's too much to feel, so something in me shut down a little bit. And maybe that's why I'm grabbing the threads of old dreams, but I don't think they're old dreams. I think they're dreams that I put on pause for the love of my life. I remember telling my brother that I had to take this gamble and stay with Brian. I mean, we're like 12 years apart, me and Brian, but I just felt like a chemistry with him that I am trying to think of. I shouldn't sit and think of other people in chemistry, but I can't remember ever feeling anything like that before. Not like that. So I knew I had to give it time and give it love and let it grow, but it's one thing to give that kind of love to this man. It's another thing to give it to our home. It's another thing to give it to our town. And it's another thing to give it to our state. Well, I skipped region. It's another thing to give it to our region. And it's another thing to give it to our state. And then out from there would be country, or, you know, the Midwest, and then country. And it's a very big world. And the way that I've been able to grow through so many changes in my life, which I love changing. And I feel like I've grown through so many changes. That's where my creativity is born. That's where it lives, is in growth and change. And as I've grown through all these changes, which I feel safe to do now, knowing he'd come with me and follow me, and I feel like the more that I change and grow and find new parts of myself, the more it becomes clear that maybe that other people aren't doing that, or that other people don't resonate with that. And then the more I do that while living in a small town, the more I feel like a misfit. Like, well, other people are just fostering and creating things with their lives that aren't what I'm fostering or creating, and then I just don't. I mean, who do you belong to then? Do you belong to anyone or anything then? I don't think I do. I feel like I belong to God, and that's about it. And Brian. And my sister, Stephanie. And my parents. I guess, and my nieces and nephews. And then my brother and my sister-in-law. They're lovely. And then a few key friends. I'm putting together a... I don't want to talk about that right. Well, I'll talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it from a sad angle. Whoa, there's a giant crow right there. Hey, buddy. Or a raven. I think it's a raven. Hello. I've never seen a bird like that get so close to me. I think it was a raven. I've been doing a lot of work for others lately, putting together a compilation for all the In the Clouds shows we've done, and collecting tracks from people. I'm gonna do a fundraiser. Whatever money we collect, I'm gonna send it to my friend, well, to the DAC, which is an amazing DIY performance space. They deserve money. That friend of mine who's paying a mortgage on it deserves money. I think I'm just tired of feeling like if I don't do the work to pull the community together, that the community just isn't there. Like some of the people that I'm purposely trying to connect and display to each other. It's basically the work that I witnessed at Lamplight Music Festival. All of these disparate beings and worlds creating the most gorgeous music I had almost ever heard in my life. And I wanted to be a part of it, and I was for like 4 years. It was so beautiful. I performed as Jessica and the Rainbow, then Cloudlight, then I emceed, had some of the most transcendent experiences I've ever had socially in a community. And then I volunteered after that, and there were no MCs anymore, but, you know, like lovingly worked the door at one of them, you know, and it's like that community of souls. It was misfits, it was all kinds of people. It was just such a weird and lovely collective of beings, and I just hi guys. Anyway, I'm just very moved by that community, and I think that's what I've been trying to recreate, and I'm happy to have recreated it. And I think I just need to stay out of resentment of the workload of recreating something and being a leader. And I don't know, maybe I need to just not be a leader of things, or maybe, but see, that's the thing, that's what I'm running into in Michigan, is that unless I lead them, I think they don't exist here. Unless somebody swoops in and decides to lead them, I don't see where they are. And the people that I see leading them have kind of gone on to other things, or are leading other things now that I don't resonate with, and I just don't see leaders for this community / non-community community. Like, I don't see a place where they can come together. I watched this thing, this TED Talk on skaters from one of the founders of skating, and street skating, freestyle, I don't know, pro this or that. Anyway, it was like super crazy inspirational, and it was talking about a group of outsiders who aren't a group. They're not a group, they just happen to skate in the same places, and they end up revering each other. And he said it's like they're all individuals, but then they contribute their thing, and then they look up to each other, and then when they witness each other's thing, then that like gives a sense of community because they borrow and steal from each other's wisdom. It's like it's like our house shows, which is like what Lamplight was like. We're sharing all these different disparate things that are only connected in our individuality. They're only similar in how we're all similarly individual. And that is so beautiful to me and so inspiring. And I want and need that, but it's like, I love that when it's in my mind, but when I'm the one doing much of the work, then the resentment creeps in, and then I don't like it anymore. I don't want to have to. It's like overworking the dough. Like, it's not the same thing if one person takes charge of it. But it's not there when no one takes charge of it. Like, I haven't seen where it's gone. Is it live streams? It's gone. We can't host shows right now. No one I know is hosting shows right now. Even when I did see shows being hosted, a lot of the times, you know, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, it's like, there's a cliquishness. Nobody has, it's everywhere. I mean, nobody has time to support everybody. And this is where I have learned a lot through these past few years. It's like, the reason an event like a Ladyfest at the Lakeshore, or an In the Clouds show that's like got 12 people, or Lamplight, which was 3 days long, the reason those are so beloved is because you can devote one day or one weekend to that event and get so much out of it because you're exposed to so many wonderful different things, the variety thing, and then you go back to your life and you've supported so many people at minimal effort. And I feel like the alternative right now is just like so broken up, and all these different live streams, and who do you support and what do you support and why, and do you just throw money around to different artists you love? I don't know what you do. I just saw someone skating down a hill in Grand Haven. That was cool. Well, I think I'm missing community, but I'm not missing the work of community. I'm missing the feeling of co-creating community. And to be fair, I think Lamplight, the reason so many people did it for only a few years and then it fizzled out is because I think Lamplight requires a lot of what I'm currently describing. A lot of people did it for 1 year to 3 years at the most and then got burnt out. Some people did it like I think the whole 6 years or 7 years that it was in existence, and some people moved away, bands broke up. One of the bands is one that I deeply loved. I have to charge my... No, I just sound like I'm complaining because I am. But I think I don't know how to be in Michigan in my mind while really just being in my house with my sweet partner. I don't know how to use my current time for my future well-being while being so stuck in such a small space. And I think some of these feelings came up today, realizing I couldn't go out for a drive. What if I needed to pee? I mean, and those are tiny things. That is a non-problem. Even the being in Michigan when you didn't mean to be is a non-problem. These aren't problems. The idea of identity just really bothers me. And you think of people who flourish the most. And it's like they flourish because they are who they are. Like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like a writer, a person in their head. I think I don't know who I am. Or if I am what I'm currently being, then I see some unhealthy aspects of it that I want to change. And the ways that I'm unhealthy, I think I'm really judging myself for right now. And I'm finding some reasoning, some meaning to where some of that unhealthiness is coming from. I'm also just living in fantasy because I'm always prone to fantasy. I think it's just hard to say I'm from here when you've lived 6 places, like 6 different states or cities or small towns. You've lived in so many different ways that it's hard to just... No, I don't think that's it. I was trying to think that that's it so that I could then just change my mind the way I do on all things, but I really feel like it's like God leading me somewhere else, and I don't know why. I don't know why God would do that to me in a quarantine. I don't know why my own heart would do that to me in a quarantine rather than just be grateful for where I am. I mean, it was less than a month ago that I was like wanting my brother to like buy us a house here and like rent it to us. But only a week before that, I was wanting to move away, so who knows. But normally I talk about wanting to move away to like South Haven because then you know, it'd be easier. Brian wouldn't have to change jobs. We wouldn't have to do anything, but I could still be a little less on top of my trauma. But then that seems silly because then I'd have to start an entire new piano studio just to live an hour away, and that just seems pointless. Like, why do that? Then just stay here. Do normal people have thoughts like this all the time? To stay, to go, to be, to not be, to become something, to not become something, to change your circumstances, to not change your circumstances. Is this normal? I don't actually know. I've been like this as long as I can remember, and I've changed my life so many times that I don't know how not to at this point. So to be in Grand Haven this long, even if it was a fluke, even if it was for a man, you know, do I lean on my own understanding of how to grow roots, or do I acknowledge that maybe I don't know how to grow roots and let the person that I'm with, whom I love, be the one who grows the roots for our family, even if it's just a family of 2? I don't know. I truly don't. I feel like I've always wanted history. I don't know. Maybe this video should be just for me since it's super convoluted. I just feel weird being a floaty little entity here. I feel like I need to bike more. I need to bike more and walk more, and it just doesn't feel healthy to just be hiding out in a car and avoiding people. But this used to be my therapy, to like go on a drive like an hour away and like see beautiful things. So I don't really know what this is now. I don't really know what to be now. I never liked my hometown growing up either, FYI. And I think I only liked my college town when I made a decision to like my college town. It was fine. And I think I loved New York City, and then sometimes I just hated it. And I think I loved Chicago, and sometimes I just hated it. Really depended on my mood, how much nature I wanted versus how much stimulation I wanted from like activities. Usually I kept finding myself orienting myself around the lake when I was in Chicago. How close an apartment would be to the lake, etc. Coffee shops, hummus, plates, bookstores, those kind of things that we can't have right now. So I'm probably just going through some sort of weird process where the things that were helping living in a small town after being a big city person for over a decade. Like, I went straight from New York to Chicago with only a couple months break. And then I lived in those 2 big cities for 12 years. Like, this is not going to satisfy whatever that was. And like, I've reinvented myself so fully. And I had at first done it kind of for me, but really for my ex. And now I'm doing it for Brian because he loves it here. And I love parts of it here, but I don't know what to do with that. I don't know. I can't let it be fear that keeps me out of city living. I think it's a little bit that it's too expensive. It's just really, really hard to know how to be an adult in the world. It just doesn't feel like it's going anywhere here, and it's probably not going anywhere in the city either, but it's easier to hold the delusion that your life is going somewhere when you live in a city. It's much easier to hold the delusion that something's changing there in a way that feels like you're changing for good. And here, I just feel like I'm not really going anywhere except in my mind. And maybe that's what's making all this output of art so great. It's great to me. You know, maybe all my albums and everything that I'm releasing is only possible by boredom, by being bored. But it's like, if you need to be bored to create all that, and now I've created all that and almost no one wants it, like I create too much for anyone to want to listen to it. It's such a wild feeling to feel unneeded. I don't know. I mean, if you're watching this right now, then maybe you need me. My own family is kind and I feel their hearts. And maybe this is just the human experience, because I wonder, as people are getting older and we're all isolated, if we are all feeling unneeded right now. Like, whoa, what was all that for? It didn't go anywhere. And if we're supposed to just be alive and enjoying our lives, if there isn't a direction or a trajectory, some of these feelings could be bubbling back up because I'm doing this work for the In the Clouds compilation, and it's like, that was from a time, that's me trying to preserve a time period where I believed in an upward trajectory, and I don't believe in that anymore. And now that I don't believe in an uphill climbable trajectory, and I haven't been able to since summer of 2019, now that I don't believe in that, it feels strange to resurrect that. And maybe that's where some of these resurrected dreams are coming from, of wanting to do something new, like a chapter, like climbing up a mountain. Like, maybe I'm just in the float phase of my life and trying to climb this compilation for a week or two and put this together and raise some money for the DAC before I fade off into the clouds again. That's ironic. I'm doing all this work for In the Clouds, which is our house name, when really I myself just want to float off into the clouds. I don't want to be doing that work. I'm doing it for all of you. I'm doing it because, from what I can see, me just releasing my own music doesn't do enough for all of you. But me curating a compilation that pulls together all of your work and then shares it back with the world, using my same driven energy that I normally apply to my own art and creativity, and instead applying it to all of you who maybe feel fragmented, and giving that back, that's all I can imagine. That it's, I don't know, there's just this small part of me that still has hope that then that has some meaning for somebody other than me. Because I'm starting to feel like everything I create and do now is mainly just for me. And I know that's not actually true, because then I wouldn't share it. But it just feels very solitary to create so much. To spend, you know, that's the Emily Dickinson theory that I had heard about. Spend your whole life creating tons and tons of stuff, and then maybe you get famous over 5 poems. But you actually spent your whole life doing it. So it's like a very strange concept. I don't know. I'm going to pull myself back up into the clouds now, because this feels very negative, and I'm going to show you how you do it. So all those words are like spiraling down into something heavy, something sad. And if there's a choice inside of me to be my own medicine, or to be my own sadness, to pursue, or to just be my own healing, or to be in my sorrow, then I can choose at any moment to go into the medicine. So what is it that would make me feel good right in this moment? Well, gratitude. I know how to breathe. I have deep breathing right now. It feels good. Sweet things like pillows from people who love me, like my sister who gave me that. Instruments over there in the corner that would love to be played. My own skin looking cute. Looking healthy considering my age. If you didn't know, because I never share it, I just recently had a birthday and I'm 42 years old. Even though I dress and sometimes act like I'm in my early 30s. Probably has something to do with that I'm dating younger. Or just my spirit is childlike. I think, yeah, so you pull yourself up. You imagine that right now is all you have. I'm looking around, I'm seeing light. My hands feel tingly from holding the phone. I got a new journal. Pretty grateful for that. I'm grateful for my renewed passion for journaling, which I do way more than check-in videos now. Got some cards to mail some family members. Oh, I got this journal, which I found that I bought back when I lived in Chicago. It's kind of like the birds that I was just seeing all throughout this video. Yeah. I have this day. I have this day right now, like clay, to use. Part of why I got in a grumpy mood is because I kept being interrupted by certain things, and I had some weird dreams and I wanted to process them, and I wasn't feeling like I had the space mentally to really dive deep into my own subconscious and psyche. Partly because it was Brian's first day off work of the weekend, and we were intersecting and interacting, and I just kept feeling, I mean, not in any judgmental way, but I kept feeling his presence rather than the space to be able to go into my own mind and heart. And I think it just started making me grumpier, because this is normally when I would say, I'm going to pack up the car and just go somewhere. But I would end up journaling and writing and doing this, and it's like this, my flow just feels off. Oh yeah, I'm pulling myself up. So right now it's 5:55, well 5:56, it just changed. And at 5:56 p.m. I still have this whole night ahead of me where I can use like clay to explore my mind, to explore thoughts that are not, no, you can't use the word not or it doesn't work. I can explore, yeah, I'm gonna go outside. I can explore any thoughts I want to right now. I can explore my phone was like acting up at me for some reason. Maybe I didn't lock it correctly. Okay, hold on. There. Okay. So I can be outside. And I can use this time at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to just be a person and be alive. I can go to the lake. It smells really good out here, like a bonfire. I got my keys. I live in a beach town. Doesn't matter where the beach town is, it's cute. I can take deep breaths and remember that this is what I would do anywhere I would live. Anywhere I have lived, anywhere I will live. I will make YouTube videos and journal and feel feelings. Look, if there's a lighthouse. It's kind of far. Maybe I'll go back to my car, get my journal. It's kind of warmer out than I thought it would be. This time, I was watching this in the Coursera class from the Yale University class on the science of well-being, and she was talking about framing things positively, and it's true. It's like sometimes, like say you were unemployed, like now you maybe have like a wealth of time. Like yes, you could look at, oh no, it's so sad or so scary that you don't have a job, or you could look at like, wow, how cool, I have this wealth of time right now. So this is how I change my mind, and I can feel how useful this is to do at the end of a video where I was clearly making myself sad by the way I was thinking. I feel so much happier already, just 3 minutes of this. And the air smells good, and that tree is cute, and my hat is cute. My piano student Sophia and her mom Carly just gave this to me. Thank you guys. You are your own medicine is a concept that says, you know, your mood is affected by which thoughts you're choosing to think. It's not that I don't still feel all the things that I was saying in the beginning of this video. I'm still feeling them. Or no, I'm still thinking. They're still there. But you can only really think about the one thing at once. I mean, they're there, but they'll get louder if I attend to them. So I'm attending to this thought, which is that this breeze feels nice. This sand feels nice. And my favorite thoughts to attend to that improve my mood the most are that it's right now. probably almost 6 p.m. The sky may be gray, but the warm air is really nice. The beach is mostly empty feeling. Nobody's wearing masks because we're really far apart. I don't even see anyone around me. Didn't even have to insert that thought. Like, there's a seagull. It's beautiful here. I feel aware of beauty. I feel aware of sand under my feet. I feel aware of a feeling of love and calm and peace all around. I feel aware of this time. I have this time right now to do whatever I want to do with. And that feeling is a good feeling. I feel wealthy in time. I feel like I have this moment and all moments from after this moment to think of new things, to pick up the threads of whatever thought I want to pick up, to pick up the threads of, wow, I live in a natural paradise. Granted, cold 6 months out of the year, okay, 9 months out of the year, but it's beautiful right now. I don't need to think about that right now. I feel just very aware of how beautiful it is and how much I love being outside, because I've been in my house all week and I have been forgetting that thought. Anyway, my needs are met. I have money in the bank. I'm going to be able to save money because I'm not going anywhere or doing anything, which I suppose is always kind of true for me. I don't really go anywhere or do anything other than like my little daily road trips. Not daily, like 1-day road trips, but you know. But I wanted to save for a trip to Portland for a long time. What if I don't even like it? I've never even been there. It's almost like God or the universe is like using this experience to remind me that like A, it's okay to dream, but B, you might want to like think through and or be practical. Not think through like negative, not cautionary. But like it's okay if you get an idea or a dream to like take it step by step. So maybe I should just plan a little visit. And that's something I can do now. That's something I can do while I'm in quarantine. That's something I can do while I'm just experiencing, you know, life in my mind. Something I can do on this lovely Saturday at 6 p.m. at the beach. I can sit and dream about it. I can imagine when in the future might be a good time to go. I can imagine whether I would want to drive or fly. I can imagine how many days I'd want to stay. I can research online and look at places I might want to visit. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be a like, I hate Michigan thing. It could just be like a, someday I might live somewhere else. Someday I might live somewhere else. I don't know what places I might be interested in. But in the meantime, I can just visit in my mind, or I can go online and research. And that can be fun. And that can be fun now. So I have to like not turn it into a problem now. It's not a problem. This is where I live now. And if later I live somewhere else, then at that future time, when I think back on my past will have been here in Michigan. So like I need to honor that my 2020, I was in Michigan, because even if whatever internal shifts need to occur in me, they'll occur with me realizing that right now I was in Michigan. Or not, I'm not speaking very clearly anymore because I'm distracted by beauty. Very pretty. Well, I guess that's probably where I should stop because it's almost 50 minutes and I don't even know why it hasn't cut me off yet. I hope it was helpful for you to hear somebody try to talk themselves out of, not try to talk themselves out of, like to hear somebody choose different thoughts. And feel different feelings. And be a different thing than they were 10 minutes ago. I really believe we all can do this. for me, the closest thing that this is like is flying. So if you want to listen to something that talks about this, listen to my newest song, well, 6 songs, Upward, A Quarren Dream, and it's all about floating away from this earth, not moving to some other random place that's full of just as much earthiness, but like literally leaving this earth. And it comes off a little like a death dream, but I don't want to die. I really don't. I want to be here as long as I'm needed, and I want to stop undervaluing the small ways, the small amount of people that I'm deeply needed to. I want to stop undervaluing that, because each of us can be deeply meaningful, like a whole world, to just 5 people or less, and that doesn't mean you're not needed on this planet. You may not be needed in a fame way. You may not be needed in a general likability way like I thought I would be, and I'm just not seeming to be, or I only am when I'm like a music director. You may not be needed in that way to some wide net of people. Like, if anything, my skills were what were needed, but I didn't feel like my heart or my soul was needed in those scenarios. I felt like my skills were just awesome to those people. And so if I speak of what, if I seem so unappreciative and ungrateful for the ways that I am valued by my sister, by my boyfriend, by my parents, by my nieces and nephews, by my brother, by my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, even just as a symbol to some people of creativity, of freedom of speech, of freedom of expression. It's like I am grotesquely wanting to grotesquely undervalue that because I thought I was supposed to do something bigger, or because I'm bored, or because I'm irritable, or because of who knows why. Slipping back down into it. So that's another thing that can happen, is I'm trying to say that it's okay and this is enough, and you can want to fly away. No, this is too confusing. What I'm trying to say is it's possible sometimes, even when you're cheering yourself up, to accidentally reflect negatively about how you were being negative. And that's what I was just about to do. That's not being your own medicine. If you sit down with a journal and start looking at what are all the problems in my life that are causing me to feel like my life is full of problems, and then you assess and identify the problems, then you're still being preoccupied with the problems. So the solution is to just literally don't look at the problems. Look at the lake. Look how still the lake is. Look at the sky. Look at the sand. Look at the cute houses. Don't let your mind wander on how much money those people have that you don't have. Don't even say that. Don't sit here saying, well, don't think about how much money they have, because when you say don't fill in the blank, you've still said the fill in the blank thing. Don't is one word, and the rest was think about how much money those people have. It's like, just don't even, you can't not do something. Once you've said it, you said it, whether or not you put not at the start of it. When I look at these houses, those are for me. They're for me to witness cute color. I see oranges and yellows and a really cute little skyline. It's better when you're all the way out on the pier, but whatever. I was just making my point. All right. Even this brand new mansion thing that cropped up that's got like 5 Airbnbs all mixed together, I don't know what that is, but that's okay. It's not for me to know, and I don't need to judge it. That's somebody else's trajectory and karma and life choices to experience. Mine are experiencing having just enough to meet my needs, to have a charged phone that's about to die, and to have the sky, to have clothes, to have a house, to have food, to have paychecks, to have money to be able to go small places, and the ability, if I wanted to save to go to a big place once or twice a year. I have all of these things, which means that right now, today, I have everything I need. And we are all collectively going through a global thing together. And the ways that that global thing is affecting my individual is profound. And I need to allow it to sink in a little bit better rather than just stay obsessed with myself. But I stay obsessed with myself because I usually just can't manage the feelings of the collective. Because the collective I just feel overwhelmed by it. But we are here and we are floating upward, all of us who want to. Love to you, love to God, love to my friends, love to my family. Cheer yourself up from one cheer to another. I need a little thing to put on my tummy. I used to want to sew like something like that on my tummy to be like a real Care Bear, but that's pretty weird. This is a really weird habit I have. I think I like journaling better. This has made me feel like a social pariah doing these over the past few years. I'm sure that's why people don't check out my stuff anymore, because I've only gotten weirder and weirder. Ironically though, in order to not complain, I should say that whenever I post a clip of something, people do check it out. Or when I remember to post a video on Facebook and like explain what it is beforehand, people do tend to check those out. So, hi Seagull. So I'm really not as disliked as I think I am. I think I just don't know how to curate a world. I don't know how to curate anything anymore. I've just gotten so free that I don't even know what parameters I'd use to craft something anymore. I think I still know though. I mean, I wrote a musical and I crafted all of those scenes and songs and it held together and it was very cohesive. And then I even went to an MFA program for that craft. And I didn't have any help with the first musical I wrote, so I clearly know how to craft things. Maybe I just don't know how to craft things in the indie music world because the things that I'm drawn to in the indie music world are often very free and free-spirited. So I don't know how to curate something and maintain the free-spirited sound at the same time. So maybe I can't, and maybe most people can't. And that's okay. I'm gonna maybe let go of that pressure on myself. So maybe I'll use my curating abilities to do something that I know how to curate, and I'll allow myself to continue being a free-flying little fairy sprite, I don't know, with the other stuff. Wow, I've never had a video not cut me off this long, I don't think. 57